Hi there, Bryce. Nice to see you again.
Nice to be seen.
How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. So last week you came in and we did a thorough history. We did an exam, we did x-rays, and so I wanted to set the time today for us to go over the results that I found, and I'm going to talk about a recommended care plan for you. All right, so last week when you came in, you had neck pain that caused some burning sensations, and sometimes it would go down to your arm, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when we went over the history, we also did an exam, and so I had you do some ranges of motion, and I checked that side to side, and then I also did some orthopedic tests on you where I pushed on your head a couple different ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I had you turn and extend, I pushed your head, and you said that it caused a really deep burning sensation. That didn't feel that good, right? Huh?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, and so after looking at the history, exam, and x-rays, I've come to the conclusion that it's your cervical neck, so your neck structure, that's causing the pain that you're feeling. And so it's causing you from doing things that you love, and such as rock climbing and weaving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we want to take that into consideration as we go forward and talk about the care plan that's happening next. So I want to show you some structures on this spine first so that you understand what's going on in your body, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So up here we have your brain in your head, and then we have your sit bones down here. And in between we have the whole spine. So we have the cervical spine, which is your neck. We have the thoracics, which is your mid-back, and then we have the lumbars down here, which is your lower back. And as you can see, through the side, you can see there's a nice curvature here, here, and here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so our bodies have that curve so that it's flexible and that we can absorb shock optimally. And as you can see, there are individual vertebral bones that come throughout the whole spine, and then there are these yellow things that are coming out of it, and these are the nerves. And as you know, the brain controls every single function in our body and tells us what to do. And so when we think of something, we can just do it because our brain tells our body to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it does so through the spinal cord and the nerves that come out of it, because these nerves are connected to every single tissue, cell, and organ in our body. And so it's extremely important for it to be these communication centers to be clear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do you think can happen when these bones are shifted out of alignment and can cause some nerve impingement?
Probably hurt really bad.
Yeah, so it can hurt really bad, and it can cause the communication between the brain and the body to be not optimal, so it's not communicating as clearly as it can be. And so when that happens, when there's a shift in alignment and it stays there for a long time, that's called a vertebral subluxation. And so that can be caused through trauma, like a motor vehicle accident, or repetitive stress. So if you're constantly texting or looking down, it can cause pressure to be on those nerves, and that's not what we want, right?
Oh wow, yeah, no.
All right, yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you your x-ray. So this is your x-ray right here. Just looking at it right now, what does it look like? So your jaw's here and your brain is up here.
So just all the bones that you talked about?
Yeah. So the brain's up here, and then the spinal cord would be going throughout here. So we talked about those curves that I was mentioning earlier, showing it on the spine. So this is a normal curvature, and this one's yours. So now what do you see comparing the two?
This one has a bigger curve, I think.
Yeah, it does have a nice curve. So when we have that curve, I said that it can absorb shock more, and we can carry our heads in a more optimal way. And so I have this little activity for you. So if we see this as a cervical spine, there's a nice curvature here, right? So you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
So your neck is heading towards this, so it's a little less of a curvature, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a 6-pound ball. Our head is actually 8 to 10 pounds. So I'm gonna have you go ahead and put your arm out with the optimal way.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna put this ball up on it. So how does that feel? Is it easy or hard to carry?
It's pretty easy.
All right. So once your head starts to move forward, so go ahead and bring that forward. What does it feel like?
Well, it's like falling off.
Yeah, it seems like your arm is like working a lot harder to just hold it on there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what's happening in your neck, and that's not something we want because, as I showed you earlier, there's a spinal cord that comes throughout here, and so if there's pressure being added, it's bringing a lot of tension in the spinal cord, and the communication between the brain and the body isn't optimal, or it's not working properly. That's not something we want. So does that all make sense to you?
That makes total sense.
All right, so seeing this, we know that this didn't happen overnight, and I know you've been experiencing the symptoms for around 3 years, and so we know that it's been there for some time. And so with the care plan that I've written out for you, we're gonna have you come in twice a week for 8 weeks, okay? And throughout this time, we'll be adjusting you as well as giving you home care so that you can strengthen those muscles that have been working really hard and the ones that haven't been working to work again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's really important to emphasize that you come in those 2 times a week for the 8 weeks consistently, because I want to get you the results that you desire and the things that you want to do in your life, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm willing to work as hard as you are. So is that something that you're committed to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. So going forward, we want to look at your goals of care and what you want to achieve. So first and foremost, we want to get your body to function properly, and we'll check up on that at the re-eval, and we want you to do the things that you love to do, so without the pain that you're currently experiencing. So rock climbing and basket weaving, and we just want you to feel great doing those things going forward.
Sounds great.
Great. So we'll do that through the adjustment and the home care that I'll provide with you throughout the upcoming weeks.
Okay.
Okay. And I want to talk about, before I adjust you, I want to talk about the things you might feel after the adjustment. So you might feel better, you might feel the same or worse. And I don't want you to be alarmed if you feel either way, because you might feel a little worse because we're making an impact on your body, and that's going to reactivate some of the muscles and the ligaments in your body to work a little more, and so that's why you might feel sore. Okay. So is that all clear?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so if you don't have any other questions for me, we can go ahead and get you adjusted.
Awesome, let's do it.
Let's go!